I really enjoyed this conversation with Jared Broughton. He was really amazing to speak to. He was okay, so let me just tell you a little bit, okay? He is a running coach, and guess what? He's blind. He's legally blind, and he's a running coach, okay? He's been running for 17 years. I want you to hear the story, and I want you to hear the whole thing because it is super inspiring when you see someone not make excuses for the things they are going through in life and do something most people do not expect them to do. I think you're going to love this episode. It's going to super inspire you. So I cannot wait. Let's do this. What's up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. You guys are such an amazing community, and you know I go around this amazing planet finding the best humans I can find to come on here to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. And today I found such a really cool dude to share with all of you. And his name is Jared Broughton. And Jared is not just a professional running coach and a mentor. He's a testament to resilience and determination because despite being visually impaired and legally blind, okay, Jared has excelled as a former carded para athlete and he's dedicated 17 years in running with unwavering consistency. Now, what sets Jared apart is his mission to help both aspiring and experienced runners achieve their athletic performance and fitness goals while navigating busy schedules. Now, his personalized training plan and coaching approach don't just focus on physical fitness, but also on your mental well-being and your longevity with health. So Jared is about boosting your potential without fear or injury or any pain or any of that. And what I love is that you guys and I have no excuses because Jared is going to give us an inspiring conversation about running and coaching and really overcoming challenges. Jared, thank you so much for being on Straight Talk. How are you?
I'm okay. Yeah, it's been a crazy week because I'm still recovering from the Boston Marathon, so
Oh my
I'm still a
gosh.
little out of it right now.
Whoa. Okay. We could have rescheduled, you could have you needed like a day of rest, I think. But I'm really glad you're here. How was the marathon?
It was okay. It was rough. It was rough. It was a hot day. I wasn't ready for the downhills.
Mm,
It's one of the hardest marathons in the world, so it lived up to its potential. But I
oof,
met some wonderful people. At least
good.
it was very nice there. I'd never been there before. I qualified for it, so it's I it was like my Olympics. So it was very special, and I learned a lot. I've never been in this much pain before. So
Oh, Jared, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you're going through that. Jared, you know what? I like my audience to get to know who you are. So if you don't mind, tell us, who are you, Jared? Who are you? Like, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background.
yeah, so I'm 34. I live in Gatineau, Quebec, but I was born in Ottawa. I went to a boarding school for most of my life, growing up as a child at least, in Brantford, Ontario. It's called WS McDonald School for people that are blind and visually impaired. I got into running because of a running of a gym coach slash track coach who was also vice principal. This guy was like jack of all trades. He was like a second dad to me. He meant everything. He never gave up on me. He gave me so much of his time. And then one year before I was about to leave to go back to a regular school because I wanted a change. I missed my parents. I missed my brothers. I wanted have a regular childhood, finishing high school. He said to me, I'll never forget it. He said, "Jared, you have potential. Don't waste it." And because I can't play
Wow.
regular sports because I can't play baseball, basketball,
Right.
soccer. And he saw that, well, you may not be able to do these other sports, but running, you have to excel at this because, you have to embrace the things you are already good at. And I think it was that singular statement that literally changed my life, that he believed in me even when my parents didn't. So it was like, I wanted to be him one day. I
Right.
came back to regular high school. I got a fitness and health diploma from Algonquin College in Canada. I have an office administration diploma, so I have a background in admin and fitness, and I also have 2,000 hours of volunteer experience in the
Wow.
fitness industry, and in admin as well. So I've accumulated that because I had such a hard time finding work. And this was all when I was trying to make a living as a personal trainer. So I had a background in that. But then my friend of mine said to me a year ago, said, you could be a really good running coach, because I met her at a running group, and she could tell, man, this guy knows a lot about running. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be a running coach, basically,
Wow.
because she said, it's like, yeah, well, I just kind of gave up on the idea that of the business aspect, but she believed in me, so I just kind of re-pursued a niche in running, and just because
That's
I've been running
powerful.
for it for 17 years, since I was 17 years old. So
That's really powerful, though,
like
Jared. Okay, so
yeah,
I want to touch on that a little bit, right? So, how did you? Okay, so let's back up a little bit. So, when you started going to school and you started going into running, were you afraid? Were you fearful of
no,
running? Being
no,
visually impaired? No.
not really. No, I wasn't afraid. I wanted to be as independent as possible, but I was babied and coddled, and
Yeah,
people
of
thought
course.
that the staff members thought less of us. Oh no, because they're visually impaired. They could get damaged. They could break like glass. No, we don't want to do that. No, but this teacher was very special. He worked at the school for 45 years. He had a passion for making a difference with kids,
Mm,
and
mm,
it really showed. I still contact him to this day, and so I think, but that school was more like, I didn't enjoy it at the time, because when you start a new activity, right? It feels
yeah,
rough. It feels my lungs were about to explode. My legs felt
yeah,
heavy. I didn't know what I was doing. Um, but sometimes it's just, you have to be like, sometimes you just need the right support team in order to get the momentum
yeah.
going. It's like business. It's like, well, any kind of activity or any
That's
hobby, really.
fantastic. So tell me a little bit about that though, Jared, right? Being
Mm.
visually impaired. So do you have like a method that you have to
No.
use so that you don't fall, or so
Yeah.
that you don't trip on something, or is there somebody
Uh,
with you? How does that work?
well, I have a just enough site where I don't need a guide, but if I'm running on a new course or a new race like Boston, I had two guides. So the first guy would run the first half with me, just to avoid potholes, railroad tracks,
Mhm.
divots in the road, curbs. Oh, here's the sidewalk, here's the grass, just in case I didn't see things. So lighting is a
Right.
big thing. Glare. That's why I wear sunglasses, so they help me with the glare, because then I can't see well. Then I'm squinting, and then it's just a whirlwind of difficulty.
Mhm.
Excuse me. The trick is to I memorize routes, so I do the same route over and over again, or I change
Mhm.
it up, or I find route where it's just like it's a progressive confidence builder. That's the
Mm.
only way I can explain it. It just, over time, I just memorize where every single pothole is, and I don't
Mhm.
think about it anymore. So it's like I'm kind of going
Mhm.
autopilot. So I'm not a big fan of sightseeing, because I can't appreciate it. So when people are like, oh, I'm going to go
Right.
to Berlin, I'm going to go to Chicago, I don't care. It's just a big city. It looks like New York to me, right?
Right, right,
Like,
right, right.
to me, it's like I go for the experience of running and meeting people. I don't
Mm.
go for sightseeing. So it's just, I have a very unique perspective on running for
You
that
do.
aspect alone. And
Yeah.
so it's more like I learn to zone out, because I have to force my memory to think about where the footing is, and cars, and all these other variables, which is why I use my treadmill when I'm having an off day, or the winter and stuff like that. I could go on,
Right. Yeah, no, that's good. So tell me about, you said even when your parents didn't believe it, or your mom didn't believe in you. So I'm just wondering, how did you overcome in your own mind, all of the obstacles, right? Because being visually impaired is tough. And especially if you're gonna be a runner, right? I mean, I think
but
that that's something we all look at and go, "Whoa, how is he doing that?" Right? Most
yeah,
of us
yeah,
don't most of us have full sight, me included, and don't run at all. So
yeah, yeah.
so so tell me a little bit about how you've overcome those challenges. Like, what is it that is in you, or what is it that was a aha in you that you were like, "You know what? I'm not going to let this be like a deterrent for me." Tell me a little bit about that.
I guess, well, it all kind of started when I was a chubby teenager, because my coach, he gave me, I did the track team, I did cross country. It's like, come on, we want you to do an activity. and they were like,
Right.
it was just, I didn't enjoy the teaching aspect. I didn't enjoy the educational aspect until I came back to school in post secondary. But I had very influential gym teachers growing up.
Oh
And
goodness.
they like, oh, Jared, come on, you got to try rollerblading, you got to try swimming, you got to try some activity. You can't just be hanging out in the room playing video games. And I think that was such a profound impact on me. Like, damn, I wish I want to have that effect on someone one day.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
So
don't know how to
good.
explain it. It had nothing to do with my vision. It was just the fact that I was at a school where it was already concentrated on activities that we can do already. So I didn't
Right.
have to think about it. But it was when I came back to regular school, I couldn't compete with other people, regular sided
Right.
people. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
running was the one thing that I could do. Whereas like I could lose weight, stay healthy, be consistent at it, and my vision doesn't prevent me. So those four things alone were like, it was like a eureka moment, like light bulb ding.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't give it a second thought. I tried cycling. I've had a lot of injuries cycling because I'm going too
I'm
fast across the
sure.
ground, right?
Right.
It's like,
Right.
see a puddle, a tire goes in the crack, and boom, I'm down. So
Right.
it's like those things where my depth perception is not good enough to do those things at a high level where running I
Right.
can.
Right.
And so I embrace it because, well, it's like, I don't know. I just, I mean, everyone's good at something. It's just a matter of finding it out. I think that's all part of life, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is a part of life. And, I think that the reason I really liked speaking with you, even the first time we spoke, is your no nonsense, no excuse type of attitude. I think it's phenomenal. And I
Yeah.
think, a lot of us who are entrepreneurs or, starting new things or getting healthy or whatever those things are,
Yeah.
tend to have a lot of excuses, Jared. What
Um,
excuses do you give yourself? Do you give yourself any?
well, I mean, I kind of have like some excuses are good. Like, it's a good excuse. Like, for
Uh-huh.
example, I can't do trail running.
Right, right,
I would
right.
need a guide. Some people think it's a mindset thing, but you could tell that the people that are saying that don't understand,
Right.
right? Like, I can't do
Right.
trail running. It's really blizzardly outside. I don't have the concentration. I'm going to be on the treadmill. So it's like I take little, I take when I'm trying to make it an excuse, I always try to find a compromise. So
Right,
it's
right.
like a relationship with yourself. Like, okay, well, my wife always wants me to, my wife wants me to do the litter. So, is there an other thing that I could do to compromise for that, or we compromise with each other, right? So it's like, let's have to say this, like, okay, if I do the litter, we get to watch this movie, my movie. I want to watch this movie, but if I do the litter, that's the compromise, right? We get to watch
Yeah.
something I want to watch tonight,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, okay, you can make this excuse, but you have to find like a loophole to
Right.
compensate for it. I think that's
I
the
freaking love
strategy.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I love that, Jared. That's
yeah,
so good.
yeah.
That's so good. So tell me about now. Okay, so about a year now, you're doing your coaching thing, you're helping people out, all that kind of stuff. So talk to me a little bit about your program. You don't have to give
Yeah.
me everything, but I do want
Yeah.
to know, for those who are listening, right, who are looking to start running and don't really know how to start. Let's start with that kind of person.
Um,
What do you do with people in your program?
I just like I see it more of like, because let's put it this way, everyone's different. So I don't do like I know a lot of running clubs and other running organizations that do just group night, group
Mhm.
workouts, but it's not like group fitness. You can't just put five people in a room and assume that they're all going to be successful at that one workout.
Right. Right.
um, that's the beautiful thing about coaching, is it has to be individualized. If you take a woman of like you, same height, same hair color, even same eye color, same background, same level of experience, been running for the same amount of time, being active, same age, et cetera, you get the idea. Even if all those things factor, the one thing we cannot measure is physiological. You are so
Right.
physiologically different, you cannot see it. It's all physiological, it's all inside. It could be your calf is 2 centimeters slower than that other woman. That
Right. Right.
automatically is a different program, because that means that she is less likely to get injured than you.
Wow.
So therefore, the program has to be different. So
Right.
that's why it's I love when people, it really resonates with people when I explain it in this kind of example,
Yeah.
because it's like, really. So that's why it's one on one, because running is a very individual sport, but it doesn't have to be. It's just a matter of like finding the right community, having people to run with. but not
Yeah.
necessarily following the same program, right? Like everyone's at different speeds, different experiences. So if you're
Mhm.
a beginner, it's a kind of about just getting out the door, just learning how to get out the door really and making it
Yeah.
easy. It
Yeah.
sounds cliche, but I've heard this in countless running books is the hard, or I hear this in quotes all the time. The hardest part is getting out the door or putting on the
Right.
shoes or whatever, right? So
Yeah,
it's
it's
just kind of
true.
like creating a routine. So first create a routine, just learn to get outside the door and just learn to run one like run, walk, run, walk, run, walk. And eventually you'll be so tired of stopping to walk, you'll want to keep running without
Right.
stopping.
That's
Right?
so
It's
good.
like it's like people
Yeah.
don't these beginners don't understand what it takes to start from run, walk to complete a marathon, regardless of your level or speed, right? It just
Right.
there's a like yeah, you could say there's talent involved, but the thing is you talent oh, a famous quote, I love this quote. Talent can't work if hard work is not doing anything, right?
Right.
Your talent can't wake up. If you could have all the talent in the world, like you could be an Olympic gymnast, right? Let's use an example. Like, let's say you have the talent to be an Olympic gymnast, but you never go to the gym. You'll never
Right.
see that talent because you're not
Mm,
in that environment to excel.
that's so good. That's so good,
Yeah.
right? And I think
Yeah.
that's what I want everybody who's listening to
Yeah.
hear because, also you're not going to do this overnight, guys.
Yeah.
This takes work, right? Like it's like with
Yeah.
anything in life, a new career, a new business, a new whatever, a new health plan, whatever. It takes work. And I think that's one of the things that happens, Jared, is a lot of
Mhm.
people think that they have to start something and they should be pros within like a day or two.
No,
And that is
no,
not
no,
the case. Let me
no.
ask you this. As somebody who doesn't run, I don't run. I,
Okay.
I would like to run one day in my life, but I don't
Woo.
run. So tell me something. For somebody who is new at this or listening to you for the first time or just saying they're scared because they don't know what to do or how to start, what do you do to encourage them? Like I know this is individualized, but what do you do
Yeah.
to encourage someone to want to move out of their own way?
Um, I think it's just forcing to find their strengths. Like something that resonated with me, like I did an ad hoc session because someone didn't want coaching. They wanted just some drills and some exercises
Hmm.
because they were a triathlete, but I don't train triathletes. But she wanted my expertise on running, right? So I just met up with her for one session. She paid me a good amount just for one session. She just wanted to learn from me for one session. And I think it
Right,
was when I said to her, "You have a lot of potential," that it resonated with her. And all of a sudden, she started putting a good word in for me. It was just kind of
right,
like purposely finding her strengths. Like no one like okay we like let's use the workplace for example. We focus so hard on trying to fix what's wrong, we never focus on validating what's good. Like, Nina,
yeah,
you have such a fantastic podcast, Nina, as opposed to, Nina, I don't like the way you looked in that frame there, that
right,
shirt that does not match you when you were talking, and then
yeah,
it took away from what you were saying. See,
right,
that sounds like nagging, and that's not supposed to make you feel good. You know,
right, right, right.
there's something not empowering about that. Like,
Hmm.
I think what's going to push most people is that positive reinforcement. Like, I didn't realize I had good form, or geez, I
Right,
didn't realize I was faster than I thought. So let's say I'm running beside someone, and they're like, wow, that felt really slow. But then I tell them, no, actually, your split was actually faster. So
right.
it's like a mental trick. It's like
Yeah,
you're rewiring their brain without even talking about the physical part.
right. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good. So talk to me about what your program does, right? Or how long it is or how,
Um,
stuff like that because I know you said that the woman who contacted you was a
yeah.
one-off, but I want to know what like somebody who's listening right now that may want to work with you, like
Yeah.
what does that look like?
It's just like you could sign up for like a jumpstart offer. So it's just kind of like an offer to say, here's a foundation, like six
Okay.
weeks, and
Uh-huh.
it's at a lower cost. Or you could just do like you get half of what you would get, or it's like a sample, but it's like a cheaper paid sample, and
Okay.
then 6 weeks, and then you get the full subscription, and then I base my prices off people's situation.
Okay.
So
And
I
do
don't
they
like to have
Mhm.
prices on my website anymore for that reason because uh, it's just I don't like to scare everyone off. I give the resources based on the price. So the more resources I get, the more expensive it is. Kind of, it's kind of
Yeah,
common
yeah, of
sense,
course, of
right?
course. So yeah, because
So
like you said,
yeah,
it's more individualized. So you have to
it's
speak to the
individualized.
person. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to speak to the person
So,
before you recognize it. Yeah, but I'm just wondering, so you're saying 6 weeks. So for
mm,
somebody who's a beginner, what do you feel is like the length of time someone should be
oh,
doing
well, that's
this so that they can? Yeah, go ahead.
well, 6 weeks. Yeah, that's a good question. But the problem is that it's so individual. This is where it gets very extra individualized because if you're a beginner, you have a lot of ground to make up. If depending on how long term like how big your goal is. Like if
Got
you
it.
want to like because there are two types of people. I'm going to get scientific here. I'm going to make it as simplified as possible. There are two types of people. There are high responders and low responders of training, and that's any kind of aerobic activity, cycling,
Okay.
swimming, cross country skiing. Um, if you're a low responder, you're going to take twice as long. I'm just throwing out a number here. Like
Right.
some people will take twice as long compared to you, for example, to get to a certain level,
Right.
even if the program was specific to you. Like, so
Okay.
your aerobic engine will take longer to develop than someone else. So it doesn't make you less of a person. It just means that you just take longer to grow. It's like the way we learn. Everyone learns differently. So
Right.
even if you took two visual people, like people that learn visually, and they process information at different rates. It's kind of the same thing with physiological adaptation.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so that's why it's like 6 weeks is a good foundation to kind of get an idea what I do. Like that's all
Okay.
it is. It's just there's no um, it's not like X marks the spot. Like X 6 weeks is
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
magical number. No, there's nothing magical about it. It's just that I want to give 6 weeks as a foundation at a cheaper rate, and just offer what I can, and then
Does this
one
include
on
like
one.
them speaking to you one on one once a week? Does it
Yeah,
include? Okay, got
yeah.
it.
So it's like they get the action plan. So think of it as like I'm like a running doctor. So I give you a prescription, so you follow an action plan. So instead of drugs, it's or you have to follow. Like I take away the guesswork. So
Okay,
you have this action. You have a program, and you follow it day by day, and I give you feedback on it. So if you only want that, then that would be cheaper compared to if I give you the free running resources, a strength plan, a mobility plan. A monthly check-in in-person sessions if you're local. So you like, for example, if it's in person, I can give you more value and more service than someone that's virtual because I can also do gait analysis, but that's also in person as well. So you can
right.
kind of see there's different tiers of the
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
things I can do. So obviously a high ticket client would be someone that I could offer all those things I just listed. So if someone
Mhm.
just wants the program and feedback, that'd be a lot cheaper, right?
Yeah.
It depends on what your needs are and how much attention to detail what they want.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's where I make it. But it's regardless, it's still one on one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense that it's one on one. That does make sense. So where in the world are you located?
I'm in Ottawa, Gatineau area.
Okay. Just wondering, because I'm
Yeah,
like, if somebody's listening from Ottawa, they might want to say, hey, Jared, I'm local.
yeah,
All right. So, Jared, before I wrap up here, I do want to ask you how someone can work with you. How do they contact you? How do they, work with you? How do they follow you on social media? Because it's very inspirational what you're doing and how you're doing
yeah,
it, and the way you are not making excuses for yourself. And
yeah,
therefore, somebody who's going to work with you is going to learn how to not make excuses for themselves. So,
yeah.
how do they contact you?
Also, you can contact me at run number two potential at outlook.com. My website www.run2potential.com. My Instagram is run2potential, and then my Facebook is just my first and last name. And then I
That's
have a
awesome.
Facebook running group called Running Support Group.
Oh, awesome. Well, Jared, I want to really thank you because
Mm.
it's obvious you know what the hell you're talking about because
Yeah,
you were
yeah,
throwing out stuff there that I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means, but I do know that it is going to be very powerful for whoever is listening who's been wanting to do some sort of program to get into running and health, and just thinking to themselves, I don't know how to do this or where to start. But Jared is the right guy if you don't want to make excuses, because
mm,
that is one of the things I think. that really hurts all of us is when we're really trying to get into a program or something that we really want to do, but we come up with too many excuses. And this
Yep.
is why I think having a good coach is super necessary. So,
Because I just
mhm,
wanted to just close with the idea that
yeah.
there's no shortcuts in running. So it's like a diet, like losing weight. There's
Mm,
no shortcuts in running. Like if you want a particular running goal, or if you're doing a particular race and you want a time goal, there's no shortcuts. You do the
wow.
mileage or you don't do the mileage. I can't do the
Mm,
mileage for you, so that's what I can say about that. Like that's why you can't make excuses. But the advantage with the coach, running coaches, is that I take the guessing work and you have support. You have a support
yeah.
team on the side. You could have physiotherapists, you could have of a massage therapist, etc. So it's just kind of like the more support team you have, the more successful or more likely you are to reach your potential.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on Straight Talk, Jared. I appreciate you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. My
Thank you.
pleasure.
Guys, thank you so much. I'm going to make sure to link all of Jared's information below because I want to make sure that you follow. Check out his stories, check out his website,
Mm-hmm.
book a call with him. He gave you his email. I'm going to put that below as well because I think it's super powerful when you have people that could make a lot of excuses in life and people would accept it. If Jared would have said, I can't run because I am legally blind, people would have been like, oh, it's okay, Jared, you don't have to. And he could have literally went down that direction, but chose otherwise. And this is what I'm trying to say to you. These are good humans. He is a good human on this planet trying to impact as many lives as possible.
Yeah.
So, guys, don't make excuses. Push yourself forward because the more you push yourself, the more proud of yourself you're going to be and the more you can accomplish. So, thank you guys for hanging out. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and send this to someone who needs to be inspired. I love you guys so much. This is Neena Perez. Straight talk, no sugar added. Until next time.